Dear ladies and gentlemen, we are very glad to be here. We would like first to thank you, all the organizing committee, and especially Amrita, Sangita, and Jenny for their invitation. And we are both very honored to present this work to so many specialists of indigo here. This is our first time in India, and to be here, this is also a special pleasure for me because I made a PhD in natural substances, and the plant I work on was fenugreek. This is very well used in India here. The natural indigo on Guadeloupe, the renewal of production based on agroecology and green innovation from the West Indies. Biodiversity. This is a project that started in 2013, and we do collaborate with Henri since this time. So Henri is the manager of the company Phyto Bokaz and the manufacturer of this indigo, and I do collaborate with him as a consultant, as a support for the technical analysis, and also, I would say, as a friend.
Excuse me, because I speak a little English. I'm going to read my text, if you want. I'm from to Guadeloupe. The renewal of indigo of Guadeloupe is based on the new concept of symbiotic economy, on agroeconomical techniques, on the observation of the plants and animal biodiversity, on a large knowledge of plants, its environment, on relationships with another living bodies, but also on a rigorous development project in order to produce a natural indigo of very high quality, with a good reproducibility for markets with high add value. We would like first introduce Guadeloupe. This is a group of 6 islands of the French West Indies in the Caribbean Sea.
You can see here that we just realized that Guadeloupe and Caribbeans are at the same latitude as India.
Okay. Guadeloupe has been a production center of natural indigo for a long time. This slide shows the evolution of number of indigo farms on the 2 main islands since the 17th century. Mainland in red and Marie-Galante in blue. You can see 2 peaks of production representing around 20 farms each. The first period of intense production concerned the mainland, where Indigofera suffruticosa rose ground or middle mountain, whereas during the second peak, the indigo were manufactured from Indigofera tinctoria on the flat and dry island of Marie-Galante. All these indigo were used in the European manufacture of textile. Based on this rich past and in complete agreement with the current ecological and energetic transition, the company Phyto Bokaz decided to start again the production of natural indigo from Guadeloupe. Different local indigo plants were investigated, and we selected first Indigofera suffruticosa to develop production based on a good management of both agricultural and industrial process.
The main objectives of this project was first to manufacture indigo from totally organic and very agroecological productions, with a very high content in indigotine, so very high quality and a very good control of the process. And also, since we work from tropical plants, this was to manufacture a French tropical indigo.
We would like first to introduce 5 local indigo plants to can be found on the islands on our contribution on the botanical identification, since the right attribution may be difficult and source of error for some of them. Indigofera tinctoria, introduced from India at 17th century on ground on dry lands. Indigofera subfructicosa present a more humid areas at known by Calinas, the first native inhabitant of the archipelago. Indigofera guatemalensis, frequently named Indigofera subfructicosa subspecies, but with different botanical characteristics. Strobilanthes flaccidifolia, introduced from Asia. On Crotalaria incana, this species is not interesting in cultivation, but this is probably the first indigo plant used by native people. Indeed, it is attacked by caterpillar, and the plant secretes blue drops that were used as body painting. The botanical distinction between Indigofera subfructicosa and Indigofera guatemalensis is frequently a source of mistakes. The next slides present botanical case based on our observation to clearly distinguish these species. I give the speak. My friend Patrick.
Here you can see some botanical differentiation between Indigofera guatemalensis and subfructicosa. Clearly, the structures is well branched on guatemalensis, whereas the Indigofera subfructicosa is more upright. And an important characteristic is that guatemalensis secretes a white sap, whereas subfructicosa has a transparent sap. There are many confusions in Central America on these species. Also, the pods and the seeds are different. The guatemalensis has indehiscent pods, whereas subfructicosa has dehiscent pods, and they can lose their seeds. Guatemalensis has green seeds. Sorry for the pictures here. Whereas subfructicosa has black seeds, and also an important character is the number of leaflets. In guatemalensis, you have 13 to 19 leaflets, and in subfructicosa, 11 to 15 only.
The natural indigo of Guadeloupe are developed under cultivation processes without any pesticides, any herbicides, no chemical input, and they are largely based on the concept of symbiotic economy, a concept developed by Isabelle Delannoy. The objective of the different principles described is to take a benefit of collaboration between our living bodies instead of control of suppressed some factors. It is based on the four principles: epuration, regeneration, fertilization, and production. Indigofera plants belong in the family of leguminous, and these plants are capable to fix the air nitrogen throughout the symbiosis with the rhizobium bacteria. The nitrogen is then metabolized into the plant throughout the nitrogen cycle, and it is necessary to biosynthesis of indigotin molecule that does contain 2 atoms of nitrogen. So the leguminous indigo plants have the great advantage, no leguminous, to be able to fix more nitrogen and create more indigo in the nitrogen metabolism is efficient and well managed. Non-leguminous indigo plants have a lower content in indigotin than leguminous ones. Here, we have compared the indigotin content of leguminous and non-leguminous, and you see that leguminous have high content in indigotin. In this case of strobilurin test, you can see that a good management of the nitrogen metabolism and a supplement from a leguminous plant will provide a very important increase in the indigotin content. We did apply this principle to develop efficient cultivation based on the agroecological principle. In addition to the nitrogen management, we reuse the extraction liquid that applique again on field. The leaf and stem extract and composted and show an important development of filamentous fungi. These byproducts are applied on their tongue to harder culture of cosmetic plants with spectacular result of their growth. So now we did develop a co-culture of indigo on another plant like Neurolina lobata, a medicinal plant with a great success. A few pictures of field and indigo production. These cultivation conditions have also a positive effect on the insect biodiversity with important auto-regulated populations that participate in the productivity of indigo plants. For instance, we could identify the small bee named Exomalopsis barshi, endemic from Guadeloupe, that does contribute to the pollination and seed production of our indigo, but there are also many other species, insects, living with the indigo field. Last slide for this part, just to show you that Indigo suffruticosa were well survived after the Hurricane Maria that destroyed most other plant culture of Guadeloupe on September 19.
Thank you, Henri, for your effort. I like try to give you some analytical data on these developments. This project started in 2014 and 15. So at the beginning, you can see that we worked on Indigofera tinctoria and Indigofera suffruticosa. And we did select the Indigofera suffruticosa for the continuation of the first part of the project. So at the beginning, you see we had indigotin content about 20%. And from 2015, we worked on different processes that reach around 50, and we did select that one. That did provide an indigotin content of 63%. So we worked with this over the season of 2015 and 2017, and we made 119 productions in small tanks. Just to give you an explanation on this chart, for each harvest, we make 5 different tanks, and this is the analysis of these 5 different tanks, and the yellow bar is the mean of the 5 of these ones. So one of these results is that we can harvest during 9 months for each year, during the year. So we can have only 3 months without any productions. The mean rate of this of our production is around 61% of indigotin content, and you can see here that we had 30% of the productions that reach more than 65% of indigotin, with very high content, very near 80%. They were all in the end of August of 2016 and 2017. You can see that there is a good reproducibility, and there were also seasonal changes. To see these seasonal changes, we use only the mean of the productions. And you can see here clearly that this is during the summer that we have the highest content in indigotin. Also, you can see that all these harvests during these 2 years had a content higher than 50% of indigotin. In order to make some comparison, we made some analysis on different commercial indigos. And as far as we know, the indigo that with the highest content in indigotin were analyzed to 49%. We have collected indigo from different species and different area of the world. And you see that the indigo fera from Guadeloupe is much higher in terms of quality. Some information on analytical data through HPLC and diode array. We just selected a few samples to make analysis. And so these ones in red and also a blend of different productions. So this is a chromatogram at the mean value of 190 to 640 nanometers. And from this, you can see the peak, and this peak was identified as the indigotin with characteristic peaks at 610 nanometer. So at this wavelengths, you can see that the chromatogram is very clear, and this is in good correlation with the purity of this indigo. We made some comparison between the two different methods, the method of quantification through permanganate potassium and the quantification through HPLC. And you can see here that we have very good correlation. We see in some of these, very few samples of our collections, the change of color during the analysis through permanganate potassium turned to red instead of yellow. And we saw that this is a sign of the presence of indirubin. And we wanted to investigate this. Additionally, you can see on the chromatogram the very small peak here, very close from the indigotin. And indeed, this peak was identified as indirubin. So at the wavelengths of indirubin, you can see the peak of indigotin with this very small peak of indirubin. It was present only in these red samples. And we made the quantification. You can see here that indirubin was detected at a very low level. But each time, you can see that each time indirubin is detected, there is a lower level in indigotin. So the presence of indirubin means that you will have low indigotin. Also, from the chromatogram, we saw that there are some trace compounds, and from these trace compounds, we could identify here the isatin, that is one of the indigo precursors. So this is a biosynthesis pathway that we mostly have during the manufacture of the Guadeloupe indigo. So most of the time, we produce the indigo through this pathway. This is why we have a high indigo content in indigotin. But in some times, the indoxyl can be bound to isatin and make indirubin in this very small number of samples. So that is a proof that we have a good control of the biosynthesis pathway. And if we want to have more indigotin, we have to control the pathway in order to reduce or make indirubin as low as possible. Just to finish, some pictures of applications, of course, in textile here. And we made different vats where we did record both the pH and potential redox. And we did compare with an Indigofera tinctoria, an Indigofera sulfruticosa from Central America, and the Indigofera sulfruticosa from Guadeloupe in 2 different dye baths. And each time you can see this very rich indigo is much darker. An example of application in cosmetics, for instance, here in knife varnish, and you can see even at the very low concentration of 0.4%, there is already a very nice shade. Here is a formulation in care cosmetics. What's important is that we made the indigo sulfruticosa registered as an INCI. That means now Indigofera sulfruticosa left on stem extract is registered to be used in cosmetics. INCI is the International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients. So now this product is can be potentially used in cosmetics. And also, just to finish on the high quality, we made different analysis on heavy metals. On pesticides, we search for 300 pesticide molecules, and you can see that nothing of the molecule were detected. The regulation of cosmetics is also related to the presence of allergens, and none of the European allergens were detected here. Just on application in fine arts, yes, I think you can see here the Indigofera sulfruticosa from Guadeloupe, Indigofera sulfruticosa from Central America, and Indigofera tinctoria. And for each concentration, we have darker shades here. And if we try to compare the shades with 2% of Indigofera sulfruticosa from Guadeloupe in this white medium, we have the same shade than with 4% of the other indigos. So this indigo was used as a brown that was registered by the company Phyto Bokaz, and there will be soon the creation of a new company called Couleur Bokaz. And Greening, since we did support this project, we also distribute this beautiful indigo. A very recent information. Henri had last weekend the visit of 5 ministers from the French government, including the Prime Minister, and they were very interested in this indigo. And I think this is important since, of course, there was a Prime Minister, but there was also the Minister of Agriculture, and he was very impressed, and he would like to support this project as much as possible. And I think we are almost done. So thank you for your attention. Thank you to all people that did collaborate to this project.